Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to make a saddle for this guy. So this is a Brer CollectA, and he's just begging for a Western saddle, isn't he? Yeah, I think so. So go ahead and make the saddle, and then I'll probably put this up for sale because I got it as a challenge. So we're going 50% size. So I've reduced my patterns by 50%. Holy mama. This will be interesting because I need thin. And let's see what I got. Okay, these pieces are so small. I'm going to try to get them right onto the material as soon as I've chosen it. So this is the tree, and that's the benefit of using my patterns, is you can make them all reduced at the same. So for the most part they will fit. Now his belly might be too big for the girth, so I'll have to probably pull out the piece of paper and see. Might have to make it longer. But I'm still doing aluminum, and then I'll put all these pieces in a baggie so they don't get lost, okay? And that's the aluminum. We're done with that. So now we have Skyver. I'm going to go ahead and put him back in his protective bag for now. And then I'll put these here. All right, so I need to do these trees. The tree. Let's do the tree. So we'll go ahead and I have to find the Skyver. And then this is also Skyver. Never done this small, so this will be interesting. So this is oh, it's really thick. Let's see what I've got. I try to find, I have some, okay, that's a little bit better. And usually I do leftovers for trees anyways. So let's see. It'll be interesting how I do this. So let's see. This piece I like on the top so I can do the scoring lines. So we'll just go ahead and put that there. Sorry, maybe I should bring this back a little bit. Okay. And then the rest of this, I mean, I like the flexibility of this piece, so maybe I'm going to skive a lot of that anyways. I'll try that. That third dimension is going to be the killer. So, like I said, this is all basically scrap. I think most people would throw it away. I keep it for stuff like this. All right, what else do we have? So I'm going to be using probably this stuff. So this is from those skins I got on eBay, and these are already dyed, because sometimes I do dye them ahead, but they are also just leftovers. So we're going to do a brown saddle or a black saddle, because at least these two are about the same color. So let's see. Will that fit there? Yes, yes it will. So this is the thinnest stuff I have. So selection of your materials on a reduced saddle, or a saddle the size, half the size of a regular traditional, that's critical. You have got to get it right. Or you're going to have a saddle that's like that thick on the back of a horse, and that's not going to look right. You can dye that again. It just, this is, see how thin that is? Let's see what we can do here. So this says suede, right? I'm going to use Skyver because it's going to be thinner for the backing. So this is called piecing, and there's a little bit of an art to it. Not a science. It's almost like trying to play Tetris, I guess. Just trying to make sure everything fits. I bet you didn't know that Tetris is a life skill. So most likely these are going to be not adjustable. Because I don't know if I have a buckle the right size to make them adjustable. Okay, we're going to speed this up a little bit because this is part 1. There'll be a part 2. Otherwise, it'll be over an hour long. This is the tree. It's going to be the same. Now, I've already done the skiving, so I've skived it to get my curve on those 2 little pieces. And same thing for the big triangle that goes on top. I haven't dyed this yet. I will dye it after the glue dries. And it works. For me, it works. I have no problem dyeing it after there's glue on it. Mostly because I'm really careful with the glue. Now, if you're not careful with the glue, it can cause problems when you try to assemble or when you dye it afterwards, because the glue can be a resist to the dye. But it seems to work okay for me. So if you need to dye it ahead of time, I'm going to dye this with the rest of the stuff that I'm going to dye. And that's because this is going to be dark brown and black is the coloring on the saddle. Be a subtle color change. This is the horn. I'm getting that on there. I didn't need the second. So the horn support, there's 2 that support the horn. I didn't need that second one because of the reduction. So I just go ahead and take that off the top. I did need all 3 of the, see that third, that one's sitting there? Yeah, cutting that off. I didn't need that. But I went ahead and put it on because I wasn't sure if I needed all 3 or not at this scale. But I did. Now remember to skive the corners. The bottom corners need to be skived so you kind of get a wedge. I'm sorry I work my way out of, I'm focusing on making what I'm making. Here I'm just trying to get off the sharp edges. So just kind of scrape off the sharp edges. I suppose I could try and use like my nail drill to, file it off or buzz it off with a sanding wheel. So next thing is I'm going to put the horn piece on. That's underneath. If you've seen my video on how to assemble my leather saddle tree, so the leather saddle tree pattern, the book is available on my website in digital. And I also have a video on how to do the assembly if you don't want to do it from a book. These, I guess, what is it called? Forceps. They're tweezers that are closed unless you squeeze it. So you squeeze to open instead of squeeze to close. They were very useful in this. So I'm just putting the, you can kind of see it. I didn't want to have to redo the saddle because I was so involved in the making of it. And this is, super speed anyways. So this is just covering it with the skiver. It was almost like tissue paper, the skiver, right? So it's really thin. They were like seconds or offs or whatever. This guy was selling by the pound. And the thinness just varies greatly on these skins. But they're great. And I bought a couple pounds of them and probably won't need to buy skiver for the rest of my life. Because I still have so many of them. I may be wrong. I don't know. I'm in a tack saddle making binge right now. So this is just cleaning up the skiver after it's been attached. And didn't get enough glue down there. Very important. I couldn't really use my fingers. Usually I would stick my fingers in there, but they're, big and fat. So having a stylus like this was good for helping to shape the leather in place. Tag making is its own form of sculpting. You're taking a material and turning it into 3 dimensions, taking a flat material, turning it into 3 dimensions. So it's always good to have tools. That is a cigar holder, and that's what I put my razor knives in. I have a piece of soft cloth at the very bottom to protect the tips, and then I keep them in there, and that way I don't cut myself. Or when I had a young child around, it helped to keep them safe from him as well. Not that he was, always into my stuff, but trying to think ahead. And then if I had to take him anywhere, it was safe. So that, remember, it's a cigar holder and it's adjustable height. It's really pretty cool. I think I don't know, Amazon probably. I don't remember where I got them. All right, shaping the back of the tree. If you do it right, the seat pops right up. Okay, right like that. And then I'm just checking to make sure that's going to go in. Doesn't it, I mean, it looks like it's going to be fine. Don't really know until you go to assemble. But it looks like it's going to fit in that piece fine. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue that into place. Let the glue dry, and then I'm ready to dye. Okay, this is after dyeing. I'm tooling. Yeah, I decided to tool this. I'm just going to use texture and then lines. And so the Ponce wheel isn't going to work here. It's going to be too big. So I just used my favorite dental tool and drew lines. And then I'm looking at my teeny tiny tools. That's pretty good, teeny tiny tools. And I picked one that's just texture. And because this is so thin, this leather is so thin, I didn't even need to get my hammer out. You have to be careful with thin leather, because if you pound too hard, you can pound all the way through. It actually is delicate, very delicate when wet. So that's really all I'm doing here is I'm just putting in my tooling, pressing it down, rocking it, and getting my texture in. So just keep that in mind. You don't necessarily have to beat the leather in order to get it to comply. Okay, so now we have everything dyed, and I think I got it edge coated. And now I'm trying to figure out, do I have a buckle that'll work? No. None of my buckles are going to work because I didn't make this for this size. So I would have to shorten them and or narrow down, and I'm not going to do that. I can make it fixed. And so I put the upper jockeys or the front jockeys on to see about where I want the top of the stirrup leathers to show. I didn't trim any. I probably could have. But it was important for me to make sure that because they weren't adjustable, that they were in the right place. Okay. So that's how I did that. So now I'm going to figure out, I didn't show, I thought I did show the size. I think these were 6mm. And I'm going to turn these into D's. And since I'm making a working saddle, because I really like making working saddles, we're going to do the rigging. So I think they were 6mm. Flashed by pretty quickly. So I'm making 4 of them because you have the 2 in front and 2 in the back. I had to work to get that in there, but they fit pretty good. So now I'm going to put those in place. I'm still feeling like I've got too much height on this thing, that I should find other ways to do this because it just felt like I've got too much. So I took a little bit off the front there. That's the bar that holds those 2 pieces together. I took that off. I use that to help you guys get symmetry. It's not necessary, so you don't need to keep it either as you get better at symmetry on your saddles. And then I use the rear jockey to determine the length of the rear rigging. Closing it up and then flattening one side, the side that has the open pieces. So I picked them, the jump rings, to fit the width of the piece. Okay, so it should fit the width when you turn it into a D. So if you don't want to do a 6, you want to do a 5, that's fine. Just make sure that you can get the lace to fit in the 5mm. Okay. All right. Moving forward. Now we're going to go ahead and put on the front jockeys. Really only getting the seat portion, the very front seat portion in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the seat on. Since it's not suede, if it was suede, I would do that almost last, because I don't like to accidentally get glue on my suede. Now this is made of Skyver, so the seat I dyed black, and then the jockeys are dark brown, and then the fenders, the stirrup fenders, are brown, and I believe everything else is black. So it's a very subtle two-tone. All right, so we're going to try and get these kind of glued into place, centered to the horn, and make sure on both sides they're tucked in there really nice and tight. Hopefully, yeah. So finally, oh, look, I'm not always in where I should be. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of any excess. It happens when you do layers and you get that third dimension. They don't always, one always creeps up. Usually it's the seat. All right, so I know I'm going to put it there, and I fit it, and then I made a mark where I needed to take off the excess. I'll go ahead and put that on there. So I just love how Aleene's tacky glue gives me time to work it. It doesn't have to be, and then it doesn't make strings and all the other with gel glues. Okay, so this is about as far as we're going to go in part 1. Part 2 we'll do, the rest of the saddle, the rigging, the bridle. But thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and I will see you next time with part 2.